Good day. It's Mayor Jeff Schielke talking on July 17th, 2020. And I guess I want to start today kind of on a negative standpoint. I'm going to share with you that the past week has perhaps been one of the most difficult weeks I've ever had as the mayor of this town, given a variety of things that have happened in the community and to myself and things that are going on. There's been a huge amount of misunderstanding, a lot of circulation of misinformation, and in today's talk I'm going to try to set the record straight on some of this that's going on so that people understand what truly is the position of the mayor and of the city of Batavia and some of the key issues that are out there. I guess the first one, and this has been kind of the hot topic of the week, is that as the mayor of Batavia, and I know as most of you know, I serve as chairman of the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning's Council of Mayors in the city, and as a result of that, there are 284 village mayors and village presidents in the six-county Chicagoland area. And so I get to know most of them in this role that I have. And so one of the commonalities that most of us find that we face in this job is that we become one mayor described it as become the victims of TV news. And when we say that, we are the victims of the information that's spread almost weekly on all the Chicago news channels. When they turn on the news reports and they show the mayor of Chicago, whoever he or she is, and this is nothing new, this has been around for a long time, and that the mayor of Chicago has control over the public school system in Chicago, and kind of is in a position to kind of make some decisions that may change policies or go in different directions or open and close schools or whatever. So there's an immediate assumption by viewing this on TV that the mayor of or village president of whatever town you're in is also somebody that runs your school system. Well, nothing under Illinois law could be farther from the truth. The mayor of Chicago is the only mayor in the state that seems to have the ability to have the law behind them to run their public school system. The rest of the public school systems throughout the Chicagoland area and throughout the rest of Illinois are all run by publicly elected school boards, of which in the case of Batavia we have a highly talented 7-member school board that's elected by scattered terms. And they run the schools, they make all the decisions, they make all the appointments, hirings, firings, approving policy. And so if you're really wanting to make a position known to them, those are the folks you need to talk to, and you can go on the Batavia School District webpage and you can see their names and gather their information. I've had a lot of people in the last week or 10 days or so all excited about, they don't like some of the proposals on how they're going to reopen school in Batavia. And while I guess maybe I could agree or emphasize or disagree, I don't know if I think it's the role of the mayor here to be into the schools who are the professionals in this and need to and do know, in my opinion, how to run a great public school system. And so I guess I would encourage you all, if you have any concerns about it, you can go on the Batavia BPS website and look up the names of whomever it is you think the superintendent, or Holly Dykeman, who is the public information officer for the school district, or curriculum director, or whatever you want to do. You can reach those people and have your say with them, because those are the folks that are going to make these decisions. It's not going to be anybody in the city government. And I just want to take a moment here to express that I have complete and total admiration for education, and specifically the Batavia school system, as I think back on it and remember and know who many of the students were who have attended Batavia schools in the 70-plus years that I've lived in this town. We've got a fabulous record in this town of producing outstanding students who graduate from our school, go on and get graduate degrees and doctorate degrees from the various universities and go forth in this world and have made monumental positive changes and innovations and whatever. And everybody from the teacher in the classroom to the middle management to the principals of the schools to the professors in colleges, Batavia High School can proudly claim that all those people, we've generated all those folks in those various positions to come out of Batavia schools. And I think we've sent them forward with very strong educations and allowed them to be top flight, recognized, highly praised professionals in their role. I would note that in the mid 1980s, or late 1980s, I guess, Dr. Stephanie Marshall was first the curriculum director and then the superintendent of Batavia schools, and she got hired away from the Batavia schools to become the founding superintendent of the Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy in Aurora, which now has gone forth and produced a way heavy amount of students who have done wondrous things in our world. I know one of the people who is credited with creating PayPal came out of IMSA down in Aurora, and there's been a number of others. And so we have been very, very fortunate to allow some of that folks to be part of the Batavia School program, and we've just had a marvelous experience in education. And so I am very proud of all those who have left our school system and gone out and become highly qualified educators or administrators in schools. And specifically, I think that's one of the really strong points of quality of life in Batavia, is the quality of this outstanding school system that we have paid to put into place over a number of years. We have phenomenal facilities, and we have an outstanding staff that we should be very, very thankful that we have. So I just want to take my hat off and commend the Batavia school system for really being a major attraction and top flight anchor into our community. If you talk to many people involved in the real estate world, they'll tell you that when you're bringing new clients in, many of them want to know what school district they're in, specifically if they're in Batavia, because they've gone on the computer and looked at the great successful story that the Batavia School District has generated. So my hat's off to all those in District 101, from Dr. Lisa Hitchens, the superintendent, all the way down to those in the lower grades who are there doing their day-to-day basis. And I know that we've got some issues going about how we're going to reopen the schools, but I have full confidence the school board and the administration will handle those with a great degree of appreciation and concern and passion, and everything will come out okay. The next question that's been in our face, and I say this somewhat figuratively, is the whole debate about face masks. And as you can see, I carry them in my pocket. I put one here on the desk with me. I don't wear it while I'm talking on this tape because it sometimes blocks my voice, and I don't think you'd hear me as well. But face masks have been quite a debate in Batavia. We've had a lot of people call and want us to somehow decide that we are going to tell people you don't have to wear them. There was a court ruling in central southern Illinois that said that they were ruled unconstitutional, I guess, and that was applied, and I read last week the opinion of our city attorney that the decision that was made down in southern Illinois about masks only applies to that court circuit that's down there, and that seems to be substantiated. And so there has been no further decision on that in Illinois. I think it's going to have to go to the Illinois Supreme Court for a decision if somebody wants to impose that idea statewide. In the meantime, after this debate started, I started hearing from a whole bunch of people who were corona victims. And fortunately in Batavia, we continue to maintain one of the lowest corona connected numbers in all of Kane County. We're at the very bottom of the list with the exception of Algonquin, and Algonquin only has a very small part of their town in Kane County, so they have a smaller number, but that's only a small percentage of what they have in their town, because the rest of it's up in McHenry County. So Batavia, I would tell you, is in the heart of Kane County's cities. We are the lowest corona victim number out there on the street. And so I'm very proud of that fact, and I would credit a lot of it to the dedication of everybody, including the school system, for asking everybody to wear masks. At the city, we continue to wear them on duty. I know I've told you before, I keep them in my pocket, and every now and then I'll jump out of a car and walk into Walgreens or someplace and forget I got it, didn't put it on, and I'll run back. So I'm as guilty as anybody else, but we certainly try to keep that as a front. And I want to thank all those who are face mask proponents for contacting me and expressing their issues and their concerns about why we need to have them. So we continue to go forward in that regard, and I don't see that changing until there is lightening up from the state of Illinois as to what we should be doing on that particular situation. The next task I want to just comment briefly on is a public safety situation in the city of Batavia. And I, as the mayor, will pound my chest and tell you I cannot be prouder of both our Batavia Police and Fire Departments and our sub-agency, the Emergency Services and Disaster Agency, because in my opinion they all do outstanding jobs in representing the community of Batavia. I want to just comment a little bit about some misinformation or misunderstanding that's out there about some things in Batavia. And the first thing I want to talk about is the HIPAA law. And there's different, that's an acronym for, I believe it stands for Health Information Personal Privacy Act, which basically is a federal law that was enacted that prohibits municipalities or anybody dealing in any health-related issues to divulge or share or let loose with any information about anybody's health issue. So we have a situation in Batavia where we have a very busy paramedic ambulance fleet, and we have paramedic ambulances at both the east and west side fire stations. I asked the chief this morning to give me some numbers on how many ambulance calls we are running in Batavia this year, and through the first 6 months of the year, which we now have the number, we were running just a couple small percentage points under 7 calls per day on average. And on some days we've had as many as 22 or 23 calls. Other days we have fewer than 7. So it averages out, but in the first half of this year we were running just about 7 ambulance calls a day in the city of Batavia, of which, other than maybe hearing the siren and seeing the vehicle drive by or stop across the street from your house or whatever, you don't know much about it, you don't hear much about it. But that is perhaps one of the most treasured and gifted services that we have in this community, because we are there, and many times if we have a call that involves people who are having some advanced problem, the ambulance will ask the fire truck to come along and assist them in carrying in equipment or helping remove people on a stretcher, or drive the ambulance while they work on the patient in the back of the ambulance to the hospital. There's a variety of things that go on with that. But I get nothing, and I serve as chairman of the Tri-City Ambulance Board because Batavia's ambulances are part of a 3-town fleet with Geneva and St. Charles that we share all this equipment. So if we get multiple calls, we got immediate backup ambulances from the other 2 towns as they do from us. So it's a system that's been looked upon as a state model, and we get a lot of people in here asking questions about how we do it and how we pay for it, and it's just been a very good system. So I have nothing but good things to say about it, but I just wanted to share that I have a lot of people say, well, gee, I never read about anything you're doing in the newspaper, and that's because of the HIPAA law. We are not allowed to divulge any information, and so that's why you never hear or read or see anything about any of the issues on the ambulance side of the Batavia Fire Department. The other one I want to talk about, and obviously this has been a heavy topic nationally, is our police service. And again, I could not be prouder of our administration of the police department and the staff that we have. You know, we have over 40 sworn officers on the street. We have multiple squad cars on duty at all times, day and night. We try to maintain a very high visibility of police cars. And we do have a detective division. We even have some people, you know, doing a lot of different tasks in the police department. This past week, we had an incident over on the west side of Batavia on the residential streets west of Randall Road. And it involved a car that had been stolen in another jurisdiction, and the car was being occupied by multiple occupants. And Batavia Police received a call that this car that was stolen had a satellite tracking device on it, unbeknownst to those who had stolen it. And so we were told by the satellite from the police agency that had experienced the theft where this car was supposedly sitting in Batavia. So our officers responded. Immediately those involved in the car started flying away. We immediately stopped any pursuits because it was in a high traffic area and we didn't want to cause anybody to get hurt or anything. But we just followed this situation along based on the information we were getting from the satellite. Eventually we got some more resources in, reinforcements, And eventually it led to the car that was being stolen was abandoned over on a street, again, west of Randall Road in a residential neighborhood. And we had to bring in some police dogs to track some people, and we were able to find them. So the whole situation was taken care of, but again, it's an ongoing investigation, and we aren't ready yet to talk more about it, but I've gotten a number of calls from people in the neighborhoods over there who saw this and were wondering, and as I say, it was very well handled. No, there was no danger as far as we know. Nothing was stolen out of anybody's yards or houses or anything. It was all these people trying to get away from us because I guess at the end they figured out they were riding around in a stolen vehicle with a tracking device on it. So we've had our moments here. It's been very testy, and I'm not even sharing a bunch of other things that have happened because a lot of it probably is better off not said. We continue to watch very closely the whole corona issue in Batavia. We asked that everybody continue to mask up and that we try to maintain our understanding and dignity, and that we are all operating with the understanding of what the real information is, as I tried to explain why people think suddenly the mayor's in charge of the school system when he or she in any town in Illinois isn't, other than the mayor of Chicago. So today, as I leave this session, I've started this thing about talking about a little history, and I found this to be a very popular little experience here. And so today I wanted to talk about East Wilson Street in Batavia. And out on East Wilson Street, we have a very interesting situation going on out there, because we have at least 3 different locations which have somewhat of a national presence associated to them, and specifically nationally recognized awards. And the first place I want to talk about is just a very nice maintained house out on 713 East Wilson Street, which is on the north side of Wilson Street, just a few houses to the east of where South College comes in. And that home in the early 1950s was occupied by the Meyer family, and they had a daughter, Sherry, who ended up having her name changed to Jackie DeShannon. And Jackie DeShannon was a student at Batavia High School for 2 years, her freshman and sophomore year, at which time she left. And here on the cover, I've transposed her Batavia High School yearbook picture. So I'm sure we'll get this blown up as I'm talking about it. But this is an album that she had in which one of her big songs was Put a Little Love in Your Heart. And she ended up winning the Grammy Award in 1983. She's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. And I believe now she lives in California. But so at the 700 block of East Wilson Street, we have a location where we can say the Grammy Award is connected to. Then if we move out a little bit further to the corner of Redant Road in Wilson Street, I will call your attention to the building that's now Dazzle's Towing and Auto Repair Service. And in that building in the mid-1970s, there was a farm implement dealership there called Feldot's. And they were in the process of going out of business in November of 1973, when 20th Century Fox came to Batavia and filmed scenes from a movie called Harry and Tonto. It starred Art Carney. And this is a picture of one of the scenes being made. And it's standing right out on what today would be the front driveway of Dazzle's Auto, right at the corner of Redant and Wilson. And 20th Century Fox had made the area into a Trader Nick's Used Cars, is a sign that says there, and it was just set up for the movie. And in the movie, Art Carney, who was the star in the movie, was traveling across the United States with his cat, who was named Tonto. And they decided that he decided he was going to buy a car. And so this is the scene of Carney buying the car in Batavia in 1973. Now you can go, I think, probably online or certainly rent the movie or buy it. It's still out there. But interestingly, for his portrayal of this in this movie, Art Carney won the Academy Award for Best Actor, I believe in 1975. And here's a picture from the same scene, and this is a group of Batavia residents around him. It's Phil Carlson, a former insurance agency, and this is Bud and Bernice Richter. He was the fire chief in Batavia for many years. And here they're standing here with Art Carney in the picture. And so at that location, we have in connection with the Academy Award. And then if you go a little bit further east on East Wilson Street and cross over at Kirk Road where the Speedway gas station is, I would call your attention to the clump of trees that's on the south side of Wilson at Kirk Road. And that's the beginning of the Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory property. And out there in 1989, we had a situation where Dr. Leon Letterman was the executive director and site manager at Fermi Lab, and in that year he won the Nobel Prize for Physics. So we have the Nobel Prize out at Wilson and Kirk, we got the Academy Award at Redant and Wilson, and we got the Grammy Award near College in Wilson. So I give tours to people in my car every now and then, and I take them out and show them these sites. And I remember I had several of the mayors from in toward the city one day, and Mayor of Rosemont specifically says to me, well, you know what I got in Rosemont, but you got me beat here on this one. So I just find that kind of humorous, because we have a lot to be proud of in Batavia, and when we have difficult weeks like the one that certainly I've just faced, and like most of you I'm sure have faced because of things that are going on, the heat, all the corona issues, the face masks, the lack of cancellations on all the big summer events. It's been a kind of a devastating year, and there hasn't been a lot to put a smile on our faces about. I'm trying with this one to put a little love in your heart and a smile on your face, I guess, by saying that, you know, we have had some bright moments. We've got a lot to be proud of. And as a community, we should be very, very proud of the Batavia School District and all those very successful and contributing people that they have sent into the world off the hallowed halls of Batavia High School. And we have a lot to be proud of in this town and a lot to smile about. So on that note, I'm going to end this week's talk, and I wish you the best, and I'll be back to see you next week. Have a great week. Thanks.